Imagine if you never had to suffer ever again. There's this phrase, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And in my experience, that could not be more true. And I'm going to tell you how. So, if you've been following along, I'm tracing the Yoga Sutras, or these threads of wisdom that have been handed down with tools and techniques to help find fulfillment and happiness in today's modern world. So, in our first video, we talked about the opening of the Yoga Sutras, how it states that now the exposition of yoga begins. And we learned that now points to a moment or a realization, a revelation of something that came before. Maybe it's a recognition of self sabotaging habits or just this deep unhappiness or lack of fulfillment and the need for something more. Then we learned what yoga is and what it is not. So, yoga is not downward facing dog and mountain pose and putting yourself into funny shapes on a mat. Yoga is stilling the fluctuations of the mind stuff. The mind stuff are the thoughts, the stories that we tell ourselves on repeat about who we are, how we should be, how we should show up in the world. And then the third thread, we learned that what happens when we're able to still those fluctuations is that we can see what and who we really are. The seer abides in its own true nature. Now, this next thread, thread 4, it states that at other times we identify with the fluctuations of the mind. And my teacher used to say that our real problem is misidentification, that we have this sense to wrongly identify with the thoughts, with the ideas, the programming, the conditioning of who we are, how we should show up, and what we're capable of. And what happens is it limits us, it keeps us in a box. So, a lot of people think that yoga is about becoming calmer, more peaceful, and even more flexible. And although those are benefits of yoga, the sutras actually say something much deeper. So, this verse explains why we suffer. It's not because life is hard, it's not because we're broken, it's not because we forget. Our thoughts cause us to misidentify with the stories they tell us instead of with our true essence. We become consumed by the mind, our stories, our emotions, the roles we play, fears, and experiences, that we become confused into thinking that that's all we are. We often think, I am this body, I'm this personality, I am my success, or I am my trauma. I'm my anxiety. I am what has happened to me. But yoga teaches something radically different. It teaches that underneath all of that, the thoughts, the emotions, the labels, and the identities, that we're actually just the awareness witnessing it all, the steady observer, the consciousness watching the human experience unfold. And honestly, if there was ever a teaching that applies to modern life, this is it. Because today we're constantly pulled into identification with appearance, with status, politics, productivity, social media, achievement, trauma, and opinions. We're constantly being told who we should be. And with all of the programming and conditioning we're constantly subjected to, we become completely entangled in it. I struggled with this for most of my life, believing my thoughts about who I was. My thoughts put me into that box. Rules, expectations, false beliefs, and how I should show up and what I could achieve. I spent most of my life suffering. I was constantly obsessing about the future or reliving the past. I was worrying about the next problem, the next responsibility, the next thing that could go wrong. And I truly believed those thoughts were me. I didn't realize there was a deeper part of me underneath all that mental noise, just watching it all. And that realization changed everything. Understanding that I am not the character I'm not the story, not even this changing personality, but recognizing the awareness itself. And the beautiful thing is, once you begin to recognize yourself as the observer instead of every thought that you pass through your mind, there starts to be some space. You stop reacting to every mental storm. You realize thoughts can arise without defining you, and fear can arise without becoming your identity. Sadness can arise without consuming your entire sense of self. That's freedom. It's not about getting rid of the thoughts or becoming perfectly peaceful all the time, but no longer being completely lost inside your mind. So I'll leave you with this. Remember that pain is part of life. The practice of yoga is learning to become comfortable being uncomfortable, learning to disengage from the programming that tells us who we are, the stories that keep us entangled in the suffering. And if this tracks for you, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. And if you want to follow along as we unravel these threads, then hit the subscribe button and please like the video. It helps to grow my channel and to reach more people with this wisdom.